the blood creeping up from the heathens. Got will, got fight, got pride, got reason. If they wanna go eat, then you know I'm gon' feed them. If you're coming for me, hope you're ready for a demon. I got eyes in the back of my head, I'm seeing. Take me for granted and you know I'm leaving. I'ma take what's mine with the webs I'm weaving. I could take this crowd from seeing to believing. Got a taste for blood and my tongue keeps bleeding from the words I spit. So sharp, so freezing, so cold. Behold, frostbite they feeling. I could tear you apart or I could go heal them. Don't believe in fate, don't believe in ceilings. I just need a taste and my mind starts peeling. I don't pace myself, I grind on kneeling. Got lust for change, I just love the feeling. I ain't gonna give up. Got too little time, I'ma live up.
Make Sense Podcast. I'm your host, Simply Talking. And y'all know how I do when I do these interviews. I get right into it. The Battle One, a conversation with stage 3 cancer survivor Jill Sturge. Hello, Miss Sturge. How are you doing today?
Hello. Thank you so much for this opportunity to be on your show.
No doubt. Hey, tell the people a little bit about yourself, give them a little bio, and then I'm going to get right into these questions.
Yes, thank you. My name is Jill Sturge, and I am a stage 3 triple negative breast cancer survivor. I was diagnosed in 2018, and I went through many different challenges to be able to beat stage 3 breast cancer. And I'm just so fortunate and blessed to still be here. I have 2 incredible children, Lance and Lauren, and they are the reasons why I pushed through so hard to still be here to be able to share my story with others and prayerfully inspire them and motivate them to keep pushing forward, even when it looks challenging and sometimes even impossible.
And that ain't, that's a fact. Gotta keep pushing forward, because if we don't, that's when we get into those slumps, and yeah, it gets bad then, but we gotta keep pushing forward. All right, well, let's get into it. Can you share a little bit about when you was first diagnosed?
Yes, I'm an event planner, and I had a long day with events. And when I came home, I took off my bra, and I was just kind of giving myself a self-examination, and I felt 2 lumps on the outer bands of my right breast, and I was shocked because I wanted to know why I felt these lumps, and I asked my mother to come over and feel them, and she felt them, and she said, you should go to a gynecologist to get it checked out. And I was able to schedule an appointment with my gynecologist, and she felt the lumps, and she suggested, she had scheduled a mammogram for me, and in the mammogram, and then also with another self-examination with a doctor in the office. At that time, they ran some tests, and I was diagnosed with stage 3 triple negative breast cancer.
Wow. How did you react when you first got the news?
I was shocked because I was only 43. And so if I didn't perform that, if I didn't take my hands and rub my breast that night, there was probably no other way that I would have been able to determine it, because at that time, the laws really was that you didn't qualify for a mammogram until you turned 45, and I was only 43. So I was shocked because there was no family history of breast cancer. And so I wanted to know, how did this happen? What did I do? And what was going to be my next steps so that I can beat it.
Okay. Got you. So what were some of the initial challenges you faced after your diagnosis?
It was so much information that they gave me. It was a lot of information, a lot of appointments. I had to take time off from work. still tried to continue working. So it was really just kind of trying to balance everything, like I said, I'm a mom, I'm an active mom. And it was just a lot, just trying to balance between, doctor's appointments, being a mother, working, and at that time I was also engaged. So it was just a lot.
Wow. How did the cancer diagnosis affect your daily life?
Um, it affected my life by one, the cancer, um, triple negative breast cancer is one of the most aggressive forms of breast cancer. So it spreads and it spreads fast and it spreads to other parts of the body. And so I had to move fast. My treatment was very aggressive. Um, and I was tired a lot. My whole life changed. Part is I'm an active person. I love to do social things, and I no longer can go to events where there's big crowds. I had to wear a mask before, people started wearing masks with COVID. A lot of things really, my diet had to change. And my way of life just changed all the way together.
Wow, I bet that was like you said, when you first found out you was shocked, and then at 43. So is this something that, and this is off my question, I'm just asking my own personal question. Is this something that was like hereditary in the family, or?
No, there was no family history of breast cancer. And that's one of the reasons why I was really shocked. Had they said diabetes or high blood pressure, I would have been able to relate. But there's no history in my direct far as like brothers, sisters, mom, father. There was no history of breast cancer.
Wow. Okay. Can you describe your treatment process? What were some of the side effects you experienced?
With triple negative, you pretty much have to do all three forms of treatment. And so for me, I had to do 21 rounds of chemo. So that was basically once a week. I went and had chemo treatments. So I had a port that was inserted into my chest walls. And so the chemo was administered through the port. And so my chemo sessions were anywhere from, it could be anywhere from 3 to 4 hours on a Saturday. I also did 25 rounds of radiation, and that was 5 days a week for 5 weeks. Every day I went to Virginia Hospital Center and had radiation. And then I had a right breast mastectomy, and that is the removal of your breast. And so I had to have that done. And then I had reconstruction. I had multiple reconstruction surgeries. I had an implant put in after we did the mastectomy, but the implant had an adverse effect on my body. And so we had to have emergency surgery to have the implant removed. So currently today, I live with just one breast. But I'm still proud and beautiful and grateful to still be here on this earth. But having to do all three forms of treatment it was very tiring at times. It was a lot. And it definitely took its toll on my body. But I did my best to always stay positive. And my goal was to still be here. And so I'm still here.
I know that's right. What were your biggest fears or concerns during your journey?
My biggest concern was my children. How was it affecting them? Trying to still maintain as being a good mother and being there for them. And it was each child, it impacted them differently. My daughter, she was very hands-on. She went with me to a lot of chemo sessions and appointments. My son, during my chemo um, treatments, it was hard for him. So he did not attend any of the chemo treatments. In his mind, he was like, I wanted to remember you as the fun Jill, the fun mom. He didn't want to come to a session and see me basically doped up with wires and tubes and, sitting there looking lethargic and just down and out. And so for him, that was just too much. For him, he was a little bit more hands-on when it came to my surgeries and radiation. But for chemo, which was the first form of treatment that I had to do, that was hard for him. And it also had an impact on my relationship. The man that I was engaged to at that time, it was a lot for him. He was used to me being fun and vibrant and being able to do a lot of things. And, I was fighting for my life. So I wasn't in that frame of mind. And so it definitely caused a strain on our relationship. And so one of the things that I had learned in my treatment was that I had to remove stress. And so the engagement became to be very stressful. And so I had to end the engagement. So that was a tough decision that I had to make.
Well, was it really that tough? Either it's your life or a relationship. So you still
yeah, I mean, it was tough from the standpoint of because here it is that you're with this person and, the good old vows that they say in sickness and in health. And I just felt like, dang, you're not even honoring that as a fiance. And so I know that I can't marry you because if you can't honor it as a fiance, I know that you're not going to honor it as a spouse. And so it was disappointing. I don't maybe tough might not be the right word, but it was just very hurtful and disappointing that the person who I thought would hold my hand along the way wasn't that person.
Got you. Can you share how you maintained a positive outlook or mental strength during your treatment?
Laughter. Prayer. Laughter and prayer were like hand in hand because my mother is a very prayerful woman, and she attended almost all of my chemo sessions. And she would be sitting in the corner, and like I said, some of these sessions could be 3, 4. There was issues with the port. It could be 5 hours, and she would be sitting in the corner with her Bible, and she would just be praying. And I just learned to just pray. A lot of prayers, but lots of laughter along the way. At my chemo treatment location, I would walk in and be like, the queen's here. And the nurses would be like, oh, Lord, the queen is here, And they knew that I always wanted the front room because it was the biggest room in the chemo session place. And, and I was always late. I was probably a bad patient, but they knew that I was coming in with the energy and I made them laugh, and we would take silly selfies. Like one of the ways that they would know if the chemo was having an adverse effect is by your tongue. And if your tongue was white, you knew that you were having an infection of some sort. And so I would be like, let's do a selfie. And I would make the nurses show their tongue and I would be showing my tongue. And I just always just try to bring some love, light, and laughter into the locations because it could be very dreary. I was very fortunate because I had my mom with me, but there were a lot of people who were in there and they were there by themselves. So I would always make sure to speak and just smile, even though I was going through and dealing with everything on my end, I still try to bring some love, light, and laughter to, some of the other people that were in there doing the same thing as me. And there were a lot of men in there with me as well.
Wow. Wow. No doubt. Uh, what kind of support system did you have during your treatment?
I had a good support system. Like I said, I was very, very fortunate. Like I said, my mom and, my kids, but I had coworkers. I had people that were, um, in other activities that I'm involved in. I'm a Caribbean Carnival Queen for DC and Baltimore. So I had my band leader come in, and he was so much fun. He was teaching the women how to dance the Caribbean. He was teaching the nurses how to dance the Caribbean music. So I had a lot of I had a lot of love. So even though, like I said, my relationship didn't work out, I still had people that, showed me love. Even if they couldn't come to a session, people sent me money, gifts, flowers. And I know how fortunate I was because as I do advocacy work now, um, I understand that is not always the norm. There are a lot of people who don't have that support.
Yeah, that's a fact. We need y'all advocates out there.
I have to be an advocate to your health. Knowing and staying on top of it, and even knowing some of the laws and changes to healthcare is so important because it definitely makes a difference in your treatment and how soon and how early you're able to be able to get some of the treatment and the different types of treatments.
Gotcha. What was the most helpful advice you received during your journey?
Take one day at a time. Take one day at a time. It's very easy to, start thinking, oh my God, I might die, or this is not working, or what's going to happen, having a breast removed. You start thinking down the line, okay, how am I going to date? Is anybody going to love me? Is anybody going to be open to receive me? And it's just like, take one day at a time, one step, one step, because you can really overwhelm yourself with all these additional thoughts.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, I can imagine just the thoughts you have to go through and just dealing with, what I'm saying, that situation. So I definitely feel your pain at that time. But we here now.
Yes, we hear that.
There we go. How has this experience changed your perspective on life?
Oh, wow. I tell people I'm definitely the person that I was before breast cancer is not the woman that you see today. I am one who likes to live in the moment. I believe in, there's always something positive out of a negative situation. There's something that you can gain from it. And so just learn to enjoy life. I mean, because tomorrow is not promised. And I know it's so cliche because people say it so often, but it's really the truth. I mean, my life changed in a matter of, you know, one night, of taking off my breast and feeling two lumps. Everything is different. And so it's learning to really just enjoy life, enjoy the people around you, enjoy the things that you have, because it can be taken away in an instant.
We know that's a fact. Can you share about your follow up care and the steps you take to maintain your health?
Yes, I have an oncologist. For the first 5 years, you have to get your mammograms every 6 months. Um, you have to, see your oncologist, your surgeons, There's several doctors that you have to see. In some people's cases, excuse me, they have to take medication. I'm blessed that I do not have to take any medication. Um, but it's very important that I'm very aware of what's going on my body, so that if there is an issue, that I can go see a doctor immediately. Um, I also have to monitor. I have a young adult daughter, and so for her, she has to get checkups now earlier than she would have prior to my diagnosis.
Hmm. What advice would you give to someone who has recently been diagnosed with stage 3 breast cancer?
Learn the power of your voice. Learn the power of no. Pace yourself, because it is a journey. When I was first diagnosed, I just thought, okay, I'm going to do all these treatments and it's done. And that's not true. Um, yes, you may ring the bell and everyone thinks that it's over, but that's just one part of the journey. So it's important to really just pace yourself and ask questions, um, and make sure that you surround yourself around positive people, people who will lift you up during those tough days, um, and someone who make you laugh, um, because it's already difficult what you're going through, and you don't always want to be so serious. You want to have those moments where you can sit back and kind of laugh about things.
That's a fact. It takes more to frown than it do to smile.
That's right.
Is there anything you wish you had known before starting your treatment?
I wish I had known that it was going to be this long. I'll be honest. I really, like I said, I really thought that I was going to be able to go in there and just knock this out, and it was just over and done. I really didn't know that this was going to be, several years of treatments and follow ups, and you know, um, having to deal with side effects. Like I deal with neuropathy. Neuropathy is like the numbness. Um, and so I deal with that in my hands and my feet, which, I type a lot. So, sometimes my hands get very numb. And then I get it in my feet, which sometimes make it difficult to work out. So, dealing with the side effects of these treatments, I wish I just had known that it wasn't just going to be you do the treatments and it's done. It's you live with this almost for the rest of your life.
Definitely. How did you handle your work or career during your treatment?
I continue to work. I'm one of those individuals who, I love what I do, and working allowed me not to sit at home and not just focus on what I was going through. And so I was able to kind of, I guess, work through my whole experience. I did go from a 5-day work week to like a 4-day work week. And fortunately, I was able to schedule my chemo treatments on Saturdays. And so I just pretty much worked Tuesday through Friday. And when it came to radiation, I would work, basically 8:30 to 3, and then I would leave and go to Virginia Hospital Center and do my radiation and then go home. For most people, chemo is the hardest treatment, but for me, radiation was my hardest treatment. And it made me very, very tired at times. So there were times where I would need a little bit more rest. And so I might take a nap during the workday. I know that my doctors weren't crazy about me working as much as I did. They really wanted me to take more
Slow
time.
down.
Yeah, they wanted me to slow down, but I'm a worker bee. So I was just like, for me, it was just important that I continued. I really just didn't want cancer to feel like it had taken control of me completely. I wanted to have that normalcy.
Definitely. Can you share any resources, books, websites, support groups that you found helpful during your journey?
For me, initially, I really didn't know where to turn. And so I went to Facebook. There are a lot of really good support groups in Facebook. If you just type in breast cancer survivor or breast cancer patient, you'll be surprised how many groups that are out there. Um, and I also partnered up with an organization called Living Beyond Breast Cancer. Now that I'm kind of on the other side. And so they're a great organization that has a lot of different resources and information for those who are still patients, and even for those who are on the other side that are now survivors. So I love the Living Beyond Breast Cancer organization, but also another organization that is very near and dear to me is my Girl Hold My Hand community, and they're located on Facebook. They do a lot of things on Instagram as well. It is kind of like a women based. We do have men members, but it's, I would say, 90% women. And it's a great place because I've been able to connect with other breast cancer survivors and just other like minded individuals, people who are entrepreneurs, moms, and we really do exactly what the name of the organization is. We hold each other's hand. And so it's very supportive. We meditate Monday through Thursday at 8 a.m. And it's just, I didn't really know much about meditation before Girl Hold My Hand, but it's definitely made a big difference on, you know, me dealing with like anxiety. One of the side effects from chemo is anxiety, or for me has been anxiety. So I deal with it sometimes during the day, then at night. Sometimes it's hard for me to sleep, and so learning to meditate has really made a huge impact. And I'm so grateful that I really learned how to do that from my Girl Hold My Hand community.
Yeah, meditation is good. Trust me.
Yeah,
And and
I learned that I learned this. They said prayer is when you talk to God, and meditation is when you get into your quiet place and you allow God to talk to you.
oh, okay, that's a good analogy.
Mhm.
And meditation and fasting is good for you.
Yes, I
Okay,
do intermittent fasting actually, and I kind of learned that when I was going through chemo, when I
got
made some dietary changes.
got you. So, what role did exercise or diet play in your recovery?
Big, big part of my recovery. While I was doing the treatment, I did have to change my diet, like no processed food, no red meat, um, no sweets, um, less carbs. And so with that, I really carried that over into now that I'm a survivor, um, really incorporating that into my health regimen. And so like I said, I do deal with anxiety because I take a lot of like CBD supplements, all natural supplements that has helped me to not only lose weight, but just feel good and like sleep better. Um, you know, when I was doing the chemo, my skin got very dark. And so, it's helped me to really just get back to my original state. Um, and with a lot of patients who do chemo, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to kind of get yourself back to where you were before. But my goal has been not to get back where I was before, but to be even better. And so, I drink more water now. Um,
Don't
you
drink too
know,
much. You know it can drown you.
no, I'm not gonna let it drown me, um, but yeah, I definitely drink more water. I exercise at least 30 minutes every day, some form of exercise, walking, in the gym, dancing. I try to do some form of exercise every day. Um, you know, so diet has played, or a newer and better health regimen has played a big part in my recovery. And I've
Well,
been able to lose 65 pounds.
oh, you go, girl.
Yeah.
So here's a tough one. Um, how do you handle the fear of reoccurrence?
Wow. Yeah, there's always that fear of reoccurrence, especially in your first 5 years. They say you're normally not clear. And so, those first 5 years. But there's always that fear. And so I try not to put too much focus on it. Every now and then, something will happen. And I'm like, oh, is it back? You know, but I try not to put too much focus on it because if you do, it will control you. It will control you. And so you just have to make sure that you are living a clean, healthier lifestyle than maybe you were doing prior to being diagnosed. And so for me, that's where I put the focus. It's just making sure that I live a healthier and happier lifestyle than I did prior to being diagnosed.
All right. That was a good answer. Good answer.
Thank
Well,
you.
we're down to our last and final question. And what are your hopes for the future in terms of advancement for breast cancer treatment and support for survivors?
I am really not only hoping, but I am putting on my boots and getting out there and making sure that more people are aware about breast cancer, especially in the African American and Latino communities, and letting them know more information about breast cancer, but also letting them know about the different resources that are available. There are a lot of opportunities where women can get free mammograms on a yearly basis. There's also different advancements in mammograms, for example, like 3D mammograms, which is more so for women who have dense breasts. And they typically will diagnose that African American women have dense breasts. And so with the 3D mammogram, it allows them to be able to get a more thorough view of inside the breast and being able to detect breast cancer a little bit easier, especially with the form that I was diagnosed, triple negative. You've This is a diagnosis that tends to be higher in the African American community. So for me, it's just very important that I get the information out. And so I've been blessed to be teamed up with Living Beyond Breast Cancer with excuse me with being with Living Beyond Breast Cancer Organization. And so I am currently right now working with them to become a young program advocate, and that is basically doing advocacy work for women that have been diagnosed under the age of 45. So I'm putting some action behind my talk and making sure that I get out there and get the information out there.
All right, all right, all right. Well, there you have it. Uh, Miss Jill, can you give the people all your information where they can find you at, and and you have a little business as well, so shoot that information out there too.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, you could definitely, I'm so sorry. You could definitely find me on at Facebook, Jill Sturge, JILLSTURGE. And you can also follow me on Instagram under the same thing, Jill Sturge, JILLSTURGE. And in on both of my pages, you can click the link in my bio to be able to have access to some of the products that I mentioned, such as our cleansing teas. With the cleansing teas, we need to detox our body because we just don't know what we're putting in our bodies on a daily basis. And we have we have liquid vitamins, we have hair, skin, and nail supplements, we have beauty products, things to help your skin look good. We have toothpaste. And for me, I use most of my products that I use are all natural. That's one of the changes that I had to make. So for me, it's just very important that I put good things inside of my body so that I could still be here to get the good word out. So I thank you so much for this opportunity to be on your show. And I hope that I've inspired and motivated someone to make sure that you're doing a self examination at least once a month. Make sure that men and women check your breasts, check your chest walls. If you feel a lump, if you see a discoloration, a rippling in your breast, make sure that you follow up that with an appointment to your doctor, that just to make sure that you're okay.
All right, you got me over here touching myself now.
Yeah, have fun. Have fun. Listen, if you got a girlfriend or a boyfriend who's ever watching this,
What?
have fun with it. Who better to know if something isn't right than your partner? So, but if y'all have a partner, listen, it's okay to touch them tatas. I'd rather you touch them right now than to be, down the line saying, dang, I wish I would have just
Check
felt,
myself.
check myself.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, again, like I said, thank you for this interview, and then definitely when I put it out there, you're gonna be the first one to get it, so we can make sure all your friends and all my friends. I got 50K followers. I don't know how many you got, but we gonna do the
I
damn
definitely don't have that. I don't have that as yet, but they're definitely coming. And for me, it's about making sure that, they always say reach one, teach one. It's about, turning back. I've been able to be blessed to still be here, but I feel like me being blessed is just not enough. It's making sure that I get the information out to the people so that they can be informed and make good decisions for themselves. And if they have children, to also inform them, especially young ladies.
Most definitely. Well, there y'all have it. Make It Make Sense podcast. I'm your host, Simply Talking. And as we wrap up today's episode, remember, take care of yourself and prioritize your well-being.